U zgradi Kongresa Sjedinjenih država sinoć je održano saslušanje Komiteta za strane poslove donjeg doma ovog zakonodavnog tijela, a pomoćnik američkog državnog sekretara James O'Brien govorio je o situaciji u Bosni i Hercegovini. Ispitivanje o Bosni i Hercegovini vodila je zastupnica iz republikanske stranke Ann Wagner, koja je i inače aktivna po pitanjima vezanim za našu zemlju. Wagner je Dodika okrivila za trenutnu situaciju u Bosni i Hercegovini, pozdravila je nove američke sankcije, ali i tražila je odgovore od O'Briena, koji su dalji koraci u sprječavanju Dodika da naruši teško stečeni mir u Bosni i Hercegovini. O'Brien je naglasio, što je nekako najvažnije, i to su sigurno procjene američke administracije, možda i neki tajni podaci, da Milorad Dodik nema podršku ni u nezavisnosti RS-a, ni u odcijepljenju, ni u mirnom razdruživanju. Ann Wagner i James O'Brien su demolirali Dodikovu politiku i srušili obećanja koja daje svojim pristalicama, ali im Dodik nije ostao dužan. Prvo, O'Brien i Wagner.
I want to start by thanking both of our witnesses for their time today and certainly for their service to our country. The integrity of the Dayton Accords and the sovereignty of Bosnia and Herzegovina itself are constantly under attack by Milorad Dodik, the president of Republika Srpska. The State Department has rightly sanctioned Dodik and many of his accomplices and enablers, and I have repeatedly called for these sanctions, which would be codified under the Upholding the Dayton Peace Agreement through Sanctions Act, my legislation that recently passed the House with the overwhelming bipartisan support. Yet, Dodik's dangerous provocations continue. Ambassador O'Brien, what further actions are being considered to tighten the screws on Dodik and his corrupt cronies?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your support on this issue. I think you've been a very strong voice in favor of what is one of the longest-lasting peace arrangements in the world. And I was pleased to play some part in it in 1995 and to try to make sure that it is fit so that Bosnia and Herzegovina can move toward a future as part of the European Union. So that provides a few additional tools. The first item is that there is no support for what President Dodik discusses, whether it's dissociation, dissolution of Bosnia, independence of the Republika Srpska. Prime Minister Plenković in Croatia has said publicly that he opposes it, and we've seen no sign of support from Serbia either. Serbia knows that its path toward any kind of European future depends on respecting the international borders of the region, and that includes Bosnia. So when Mr. Dodik talks this way, it's an attempt to rile up his base, and one that we should not take as a sign of anything that's possible. Now, how do we then begin to enforce this and encourage him to work only within the legal procedures of the Dayton Agreement? Here, there are a couple of things. One is sanctions are important. I won't preview any specific sanctions. We just announced some additional sanctions.
And I am grateful for those sanctions against Dodik.
And those are intended to make the case that public entities like Republika Srpska should operate on public budgets, not on the capture of state-owned enterprises or on non-transparent loans from unknown foreign sources. So that's what the sanctions are intended to get at. We'll add to that close cooperation with our European colleagues. They have both through the accession...
And to that point, can you, Ambassador, if I could interrupt.
Please.
The EU has not imposed its own sanctions on Dodik, and how important is it for the Europeans to follow suit, and how are we using our U.S. pressure on our partners to join the U.S. in holding Dodik accountable through sanctions or other means?
Yeah, I think it's the other means in this case. I think we have the tool of sanctions readily available.
Right.
The EU, because it needs to get consensus among all the members, finds it sometimes difficult
Do you have some perspective on the other means?
Yeah. So what it can do is withhold funding, as it did to Republika Srpska over the past year, deny benefits, in particular the benefits of joining a regional common market, unless the Republika Srpska is fully compliant with the Dayton Agreement. And we're working very closely with our EU colleagues on the roadmap necessary for that to happen. And if I may just, I'm sorry for going on so long, I just want to call out the spectacular work of our ambassador in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Michael Murphy.
He was with us last night for the incredible film Kiss the Future, and the president of Bosnia is here also.
I'm seeing him in 2 hours.
Wonderful, and we've had a tremendous back and forth, and I agree with you. He's been a wonderful envoy and representative.
And I just think it's a mark of how well he's done that President Dodik singles him out for special insult and recognition at every opportunity.
Me too. In its 2024 annual threat assessment, the U.S. intelligence community warned of a heightened risk of localized interethnic violence in the Western Balkans, including in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And you both, I'm going to run out of time, so I'd ask you both to respond in writing, if you could, how our state and our USAID working to lower the risk of ethnic conflict in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I wish I had time to have you answer orally, but if you could get back to us in writing, I would be greatly appreciated.